Hey friends, welcome back to Mastering Post-Production Sound. My name is Joel. I am a sound recording mixer, supervising sound editor. I'm here to help you navigate, believe, and thrive in the post-production sound industry. Today, we are going to talk about creating groups in our mix sessions, especially the benefits for post-production sound. And I realized last week I posted a really interesting video. Some people really had some questions more, wanted to go a little bit deeper. And so this is my follow-up. I'm just going to invite you into, I'm just at home chilling here with Pro Tools open. We're going to go step by step to show you exactly how to create these groups. Last week when we talked about food groups, specifically how I use them in post-production mixing for TV and film, these food groups help me go faster, more efficiently. If I want to put in EQ and apply a certain parameter to a plugin to, all the food groups, rather all the effects in a food group, it's very easy to do. Now I'm going to teach you how to set that up today. I had some people reach out and I was like, wow, I didn't realize that, that this is just a workflow that I use all the time. Yes, let's open up Pro Tools. So grab your, I got some coffee here. All right, a little coffee here. Grab your drink of choice, and let's get Pro Tools open. I'll show you what I have right now. Right now, I have just a standard session, just for the example, so I can teach you. Your template's going to look however you have it. But what I have going on here are 3 food groups of effects. Okay, and this is going to also apply for backgrounds. This method, how to create these groups. So following this will also be applicable to applying these groups in backgrounds. So just for demonstration purposes, I have, in my first set of sound effects here, I have 8 mono sound effects and 8 stereo sound effects. And you'll see, if you watched last week's video, and if you haven't, you can click over here. I'll have a little something up here. You can check it out. I'll also put it in the notes below. But I have, in this particular first set of effects, I'm calling this effects A. And the effects A here go through here, and then we'll have effects B that go up into here, and then effects C here. Now, I am used to having sometimes, a ton of groups. I go A effects all the way through H, sometimes I, on really big films. For the TV stuff, we're generally A, B, C, D. Yeah, A, B, C, D, sometimes maybe E, right? And I like to go 8 mono and 8 stereo per food group because it allows me to easily have it lay out on the Avid SX mixing console. So it says 8 and 8. Let's go ahead and let me show you what we have going on here. So basically, I've just created these dummy tracks, right? And it's just bare bones and no buses, no verbs or anything like that. Of course, if you have that integrated into your template, that's awesome. But this is just really easy to teach here. So basically, how we start by doing this, I want to treat this particular food group. Oh, and this, for those who are wondering, I like to just have it, say effects A, and then the little M there for mono. I could, if I wanted to, I could go like mono 1, but it's just too many words, right? Letters rather. So mono 1. So FXA mono 1 through 8 here. FXA stereo 1 through 8. And then you'll see the B mono effects here, and then the B stereo effects, and so on down to the C. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and now create a group. For those who do not know how to create the group, we're going to do this. People have different ways to do it. I'm just going to show you the way I know how to do it. It's very simple. I'm a visual person, so hopefully this is helpful to you. I'm going to go ahead and start by, there's a couple of things to think about. What the purpose for creating the groups for me when I mix to get through the TV shows and the films quicker is efficiency. I want to be able to take a plugin, and let me just quickly show you first. I just preloaded an EQ here, just channel strip, something really simple here. But I want to be able to take a parameter on a plugin and have it, let's say, for this particular set of tracks right here on 1 through 8, let's say, or this food group A. I want to be able to move a parameter on my EQ and have it apply to all the other tracks as well in the group. And I am able to have full control of that. How I do that is first I have to start by making a group. Down here in the group section right here, you'll see you can create new group, and the shortcut key there is Command G. So what I'm going to do is, let me just get out of that real quickly, get out of preview. I'm going to create my first group here, but it's important to distinguish a couple things. I like to separate my groups from mono effects and stereo effects. So this is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to group the effects A mono 1 through 8, and I'm going to use my shortcut key here, Command G, and it's going to bring up this create group dialog menu here. And this name section right here, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it effects AM mono. Could also go like that if I wanted to. And in here, I like just M, so I'm going to go like this. You're going to see right here, you're going to have under tracks. This is going to let you know what tracks are available to put in the group. Over here, it says it's currently in this group. These are going to be the tracks that are currently in this particular group, which are the effects A mono group. And you'll see I have 1 through 8. Now, of course, if you wanted to, if you need to add a couple more mono tracks, and they would pop up here, and you would just click on that track you want, add it, and you'll see it now part of that group. Now, of course, I don't want that stereo in there right now, so I'm going to remove that. And this is what I currently want in there. I want effects A mono 1 through 8. Now, over here in the globals, this is the way I work right here. I work with the mix and the edit type. And the global, I like to have all the parameters checked, because when, and this is why I use it. I use the groups with my food group effects tracks to quickly apply an EQ parameter, a send parameter, volume mute, any kind of other automation, LFE. I apply it quickly, and by using these groups, it allows me to move more efficient and more quickly. So I want on my globals, I want all of these checked. I want the volume, the mute, the pan, the LFE. Then going to the inserts, I want to make sure, you know, the controls, I can control each parameter, the bypass, everything in there. These, I don't really pay attention to the mix attributes much, but I went ahead and I just keep those like that, okay? And then once I name it, whatever you want to name it, I hit OK. Now, if you were working with VCAs, then you would go ahead and you would assign the VCA to it. I do use VCAs, so in this case, it would be my effects A mono VCA, and I would go ahead and assign it. And I'll show you after that. After we do this, I'll show you how you do that. But I'm gonna hit OK, and now I'm gonna have my first group here. You see down here, effects A mono. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the stereo. Again, my shortcut, Command G. I'm gonna call this effects A stereo, ST. This is what I want. I want my globals, tracks, just to confirm. I got 1 through 8, effects A stereo. Okay. And now I'm going to do the same thing to groups B and group C. I'll do it quickly here. We'll go 1 through 8B group, effects B mono. Those are the tracks I want in there. This all stays the same. I'm not, you know, it's pretty easy. So I'm going to go through here. Now let's go to those. Effects B stereo. Okay. And for the sake of just going through this quickly, I'm just going through it quickly. FX C mono and group FX C stereo. Okay, so now you see down here, these groups are all highlighted. Do you see that? Right now I have these active groups. You'll see here in the section you have a key command here, Shift Command G, to suspend all groups, and that is literally what it means. It's going to suspend your ability to, adjust any kind of parameters in that specific group. Okay, I'm going to turn that back on here, and you must have them highlighted, okay? Because if you just have one of them on, and you don't have the other ones on, then when you move a certain parameter, it's not going to do everything to all the tracks that you assigned it to. So I want these active right now. Okay, now let's show you the result of what it does. So now let's call up a couple EQs. We're going to go with effects A mono. We're going to go with effects A mono 2. And now let's go with, so you can see what I'm doing, let's go with the stereo. So effects A stereo 1 and effects A stereo 2. And I'm just going to keep that there. And just so you know, in case you didn't know, this little red mark right here, or little, square right here, when you click it and it's not highlighted, it's like a sticky, it sticks. So, and what I mean is, when you have that there and you call this one up, guess what? It just switched, right? So I want to keep this sticky, this red, and I want to keep it stuck right there. So, all right. So let me show you now. Here we go. When I have this particular parameter on effects, on my effects A monos, if I want to impact, or rather affect all the tracks in the first top 8 mono tracks, check this out. I have to make sure that my groups down here are all engaged here. Make sure that's on. And now here's the result. I can grab my EQ and guess what? There we go. Now I can roll stuff off. I can get happy with my EQ, get a particular setting going. Maybe I want to take out a frequency, boost some low end. It's all now following, and you'll see this is track 1, track 2. Check out 3. Look at that. See, there is effects A mono 3, and so everything in the group, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, 7, and 8. So now every single one of those tracks that I have my group activated in is going to be impacted, okay? So let's go ahead and, oh, but wait a second, what do I see here? I'm seeing these should be highlighted in green. Let's make sure it's just not, it's playing tricks on me. So here we go. Let's go like this. Let's grab our parameter. Oh yeah, okay, so check this out. Something's going on here. And you'll notice when I went into preview, do you see these? I'm in touch here. Let's get rid of this. This is great that this happens live when I'm recording this. I'm going to grab this parameter in preview, and I'm going to go ahead and roll some off. Okay, so something's going on here. So 5 and 6, you'll see, are not turning green. And the green in preview means I'm adjusting a parameter. So look at, here's 3. There it is. So let's go fix that. Let's go, if that happens to you, you're going to go down to your groups, and let's make sure, we're going to go to modify groups, and let's go over here in ID right here. Let's make sure that that's selected, because you might have this selected. You want to go to effects A mono. Okay, so check it out. We have 1 through 8 highlighted. So for some odd reason, it is not registering. So I'm just going to remove them, and I'm just going to re-add them and hit OK. I'm going to get out of preview. Now I'm going to go to 5. Oh, I see. I know what this is. Okay, my friend. Are you ready to learn something? This is what I'm going to put money on. I'm going to put money on that this particular channel strip, when I was setting up, I didn't have a baseline automation. And the baseline automation, okay, if I go here, let's see if this plugin automation is enabled. It is not. Exactly what I thought. Oh, do you see this right here? This is very important to understand and know. Let me show you what is over here. You must set these up. When you have your plugin, it's going to, and let me just go ahead and remove the plugin real fast so you can see. When you add the plugin here, and so let's grab our channel strip. It's going to, in its natural state here, is going to have right here in the plugin automation enable button here. When you click that, it's going to say, this plugin automation screen comes up. You're going to have every parameter of that plugin that you just called up is going to be here on the left-hand side. And now you can add whatever you want over. Well, guess what? I want every parameter to be automated. I need to be able to automate every parameter. So I'm going to add all of them. You see that? And now I can hit OK. Now, the reason this didn't move over here, they didn't turn green, was because I didn't have them sent over here to the plugin automation. So to just start fresh, I'm going to go ahead and go like this. I could also just, since this right here, this one is already set up, that's the way we want it, I could also just grab this and option click and drag over and go right over 6, and it's going to tell me, oops, yeah, I messed that up. Here we go. So let's get rid of that. Option click, drag right over, and it's going to ask me this because there was some automation on there. I'm going to say yes, I'm going to replace that, okay? All right, so now if I go into preview and I call up my channel strip, I'm going to grab my parameter, and you should see that all 1 through 8 are going to flash green. And there we go. That now means that every single one of those parameters in channel strip, as you see, here we go, there's 6, there's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now that is a proper working one. So let's go to the stereo. Now stereo, if I grab my channel strip here and I want to boost a little bit that low end, did you see what happened? They all lit up, right? 1 through 8. So that means what I did on 1, FXA stereo 1, is the same thing I did over here on FXA stereo 5. So do you see the benefit? How if you have some sound design, some crazy effects here that you're working on, and you want to apply the same automation to either a plugin, panning, LFE, send, if you're sending some reverb, then you can go much quicker when everything is grouped. Now let's say that you need to not work that way. You don't want to work that way. Well, guess what happens? You just go over here and you suspend it. You suspend your groups. And how did I do that? I go over here. You see suspend all groups. Shift, Command, G is the quick shortcut here. Let's go like this. Okay. Let me get a preview. And so now, knowing that, basically you get to be in charge of how you want to set that up when it comes to what parameters, what plugins. The same thing is going to apply as you go over here, because you see we took the time to create all these groups. If I go to my FXB mono, and just to show you, well, first of all, I go in preview and I start rolling some stuff off. Guess what? Did all of them highlight? Yes, they did, all 1 through 8, because that means that what I did on 1 is reflected on 3, and it's reflected on, oh, where did it go? There it is. On 8. On every track 1 through 8. Do you see that? And as I pull the parameter down here and I boost this there and I take some more off the high end, all the tracks in the group and the FXB mono group are going to be impacted. Now, let's say, let me get out of this. Let's say you took, how should we do this? This is not going to be when you, let's say you have a group. Let's say you make a group and you grouped all of these together, right? Every single one. So let's just make another, let's do this. Let's make another 8. 8 mono, 8 stereo, and we're going to call this FXD, okay? FXD mono and and FXD stereo, okay? I'm going to create this new group, and I'm going to just go like that, or I'll go like that. That color is cool. I'm going to call these, oops, let's move these down. I do not like these. I want to go these down like that. I don't like them out of order. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new group, okay? And I'm going to call it, here we go, FXD. That's it, FXD. And guess what's in the group, right? Currently in the group, 1 through 8 mono, stereo through 8, okay? And I'm going to hit O, actually global, say, okay, I want all that stuff in there. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. We're good. All right, so now I have this new group. You'll see down here, it's effects D right there. There you go. Boom, boom. You see that when I toggle it on, click on and off, you see that up here, the groups, it changes from nothing to now there, right there. See? Boom. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add the plugin. We'll go with we'll just for something different. We'll go with that one, the EQ3. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that all my parameters are for my plugin are going to be automatable. Okay, there we go. And I will just click and drag. Another way to do that, do this quickly and easy, is like you take one and then you duplicate it like 7 times and then it's just done. You can just rename it. But this also, what this allows me to do is allows me to make sure that I don't miss a step. So like I did last time, although I missed the step. So so it's like, what are you talking about, Joel? Okay, so boom. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me here. There we go. All right, so there's our new set of EQs on effects D. So check this out. If I call up effects D1 mono, and let's go with 2 as well so you can see, I'll put it right underneath here, okay? Because we grouped all the tracks, the monos and the stereos, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think stereo is going to follow mono? You think it's going to all work together? Or you think we're going to have some issues? Well, let's take a look, friend. Let's make sure, first of all, let's make sure we're all in. I'm in read, so I'm just going to go here and option click touch. Good. Now we can write some automation. So let's take a look. So if I go here to my effects D mono 1, I'm going to go into preview. And I grab my parameter here, I go in, guess what's going to happen? As I move this, it follows with the second mono track, but not the stereo. Do you see? So we're like, oh no, that's not working. Well, that's one of the reasons why I break it up to monos and stereos. Now, let me tell you this though. Because we had the parameters, also all the global parameters, the mutes and stuff, some of them do work. So if I go here and I hit mute, guess what? Everything in that does, in fact, mute. Solo as well, okay? Input, record, everything, okay? But because I am using a plugin that is for a mono track, it's not going to register for the stereo plugin parameters, okay? So this is why we should keep it separate. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to modify. So let's just talk about modifying, how we modify our group. We've already created a group, effects D, right here. Now I want to modify it, okay? So I'm going to get out of preview. I'm going to go over here to this little drop-down menu here, and this modify groups, Shift Command G, as also the shortcut, brings up the modify groups. So we're going to go to the ID and we're going to look for what we just created, which was effects D right there. And what I want to do is I want to create a mono and a stereo like we were doing. So what I'm going to do is, since I already have everything in the group, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to remove effects D stereo 1 through 8. So I'm going to highlight all those and I'm going to click remove. Now you'll see that currently in the group is only 1 through 8. And I'm going to rename this up here effects D mono. And I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so now you'll see that when I call up this particular EQ for effects D mono, here's effects D mono 2. Now I could take any parameter and it follows, but nothing over here for the stereo. The stereo is no longer, you see that? It's no longer committed to that group. Okay, so that's how we modify that. Now I do need to create, let me get out of preview, And just in case you didn't pick up on that, the preview button, right? Preview allows me to, when I have plugins that have this particular, the plugin automation is on this side, right? We've enabled that. It allows me to, get sort of like a snapshot of a certain setting for a plugin. Now I like it, then I can go ahead and apply it to the whole scene, all across, the whole entire show, whatever I want. Now, since we did create the mono, we have these other tracks that don't have a group right here, okay? And so I need to select effects D stereo 1 through 8 and create a new group, okay? Command G, and we're gonna call this effects D stereo. And just to confirm over here, tracks, this is what's available, and this is what's currently in there, okay? And I have effects D stereo 1 through 8. I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK. I'm gonna go ahead and get back into preview so we can test. Here's number 1. Here's number 2, stereo 2. Let's go like this. Oops, bring that down there. Okay, so now you can see I'll grab a parameter on effects D stereo 1 and it is applied to both. Okay, there we go. Now let's get out of that, add preview. The same applies to your panning automation. Okay, now because we told it in our group setting, in our global setting rather, we told it to follow pan automation. When I take a parameter here and I move it, check that out, to the left, guess what? Everything in that group is moving with it, right? And in the case of a 5-1 situation we're mixing, if I move it anywhere, right? If I move it anywhere, it's gonna follow, okay? And what I mean is, let me show you really quickly. If I create a, let's create a bus. Let's just call a 5. Let's get a 5-1 aux, and we'll just call this effects bus. Okay. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to create a. We'll just go effects. I think I have an effects bus somewhere here. Let's take a look. Oh, I'm pretty certain I do. So I'm just going to go like this. Input effects bus. There it is. Effects bus. If you don't have one, just create one. And I'll just go dummy out here. Let's just go to monitor out. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Yes, because I'm on a laptop right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is when I take this particular, I need to send these first. So let me send these tracks, all of these, to the bus. So we're gonna like this. I've highlighted all of them in my effects A, monos and stereos. I'm gonna hit Shift Option and go down here to my output, and I'm gonna, with that held down, I'm gonna go ahead and go to bus, and now I'm gonna send it to the effects bus. Okay, let's go over here. And effects, not that one. I have a couple. I'm a little mad. There it is, that one. Okay, so now there we go. Now we can see in 5.1. Okay, if we were in 5.1, in preview, take a look. I'm going to leave that one up here. This is the mono. This is 2. This is 3. I'm going to get a lot of them up here so you can check this out. Here is 4. Let's just call them all up. 5. And 6. And 7. And let's get 8. 8. Okay. All right. Let's put one over here. So you'll notice now what happens is if I grab this parameter in preview, guess what? I grab it. Look at everything is moving. Do you see that? Everything in the group, the mono groups, is moving with me. So if I have a car by, or there's a bullet whiz by, or a rocket going by, or some kind of sound effect that in 5.1 we wanted to go from left to right, or from center to the right surrounds, in preview or not, or in touch, and just write it. You can grab your parameter with your group enabled. And remember, you have to have this enabled here. and you can write that automation, and everything in your group will move with it. This is how I go really quick with especially my panning automation. Now it's not going to work if I go here and I don't have it selected, but I have everything else because I was a bonehead and I forgot to select it. Only that one parameter is going to go. I'm like, what's going on? I don't get it. Oh yeah, shoot. I got to have my group here. And if I have this right here, this AZ here, if I have that enabled, I can now just use my keyboard and hit A. Okay? Literally just toggle it off and on. B, C, okay? So you could just use your keyboard, okay? If it's not highlighted, it's not going to do anything when I click the keyboard letters, okay? All right, so you must have that on to have everything in your group move. See how cool that is? Now, it's not going to affect over here. It's not going to affect, oops, let's get out of here. It's not going to impact anything outside of that particular group, right? For instance, your B, or rather your A stereo effects, see, yeah, there's left and right, right? There's left and right. It's not going to impact that. So stereo, you're like, how does it work for stereo? Well, for stereo, it's the same exact thing. Because you have a group enabled. I'm just clearing this. There we go. Let's go like this. You'll see when I make a parameter move, or rather a pan move, look at that. Everything moves with it, right? So that is the tracks, stereo tracks 1 through 8 in the effects A food group, okay? Those all move, okay? And so I could go like that if I needed to go like this and, you know, do something like this. Woo! Oh, it's because I didn't have these. You know, you're going to see only the left channels move from left, hard left to left surround, and the same thing over here, you know? So there you go. Now those are grouped together. Now, of course, if we don't want to work that way, we don't have to have any of this enabled, and we can just simply disable the groups. There you go. And groups are now disabled. So the same thing's going to apply for backgrounds. You know, if we have backgrounds A, B, C, D, E, Walla, if you have Walla tracks, you know, Walla A, B, C, D, this method is going to apply the same way. Very simple to do. Of course, this is the way I work. You know, it's what works for my brain to get things, you know, done quicker. Of course, there is, and one of the things that was kind of brought up in one of the comments in the last video, which if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. It's, you know, talk about food groups. Let's put an EQ here real quickly. Now, someone was suggesting, like, you know, why don't you know, you should just do it from here, which, you know, from your aux, and that is totally acceptable, and I've totally done that too. I think it all depends on the situation and the time that you have. I like to do it all within the actual tracks until, you know, and I've done it both ways. You know, I have the time, I get into the tracks, but if for some reason I needed to quickly, and let's go like this, and grab all these, add these. If I needed to, in this particular bus, let's just say, you know, these were all going to the effects A bus, right? Because I would have effects A bus, effects B bus, effects C bus, and they would all be feeding the effects bus overall. I can then take just the bus here, right? And I can now grab a parameter on the EQ and apply a roll-off to everything that is going through this bus, but it would not impact any of the actual EQ there. It would just be what is hitting that. That has totally hooked me up in a pinch, or when I just, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to go through and individually, or rather, you know, as a group, roll them off or do whatever I need to do. Sometimes it is easier just to grab the EQ on the particular bus that you're working on and just, you know, make a move. You know, all right, we're going underwater, so we're going to roll off all the high end and then come back. So it's two different philosophies. I think whatever works for you works. Different strokes for different folks, right? Different techniques for different, you know, people who are in the industry. So let me know if this has been helpful, friend. Let me know if you learned something here. If you did learn something, do me a favor. Will you share this with somebody? Either share it on your network, whether it's LinkedIn, or maybe you have a colleague who was, who's getting into sound. They need to, learn about this kind of stuff. Send them the way, send it to them. It helps me out. It helps also if you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'm just grateful that you're here. Again, if you did not catch the previous video where I showed you how exactly I use it on the dub stage, go check that video out. It'll be somewhere here at the end or down below. And a lot of you folks have downloaded my template, and just want to say thank you for doing that. If you are interested in my effects template, in my dialogue template, and specifically for mixing 5.1, go check it out. Go to masteringpostproductionsound.com/templates, and you can just put in your email there, and I'll send you to your inbox both my templates and a link to a video walkthrough. So my gift to you. All right, friend, thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week for another Mastering Post-Production Sound video. Take care.